So I've been talking a lot recently about 100x opportunities, and it got me to thinking, could Vechain VETS token actually be a 100x potential option? And so in this video, that's what we're going to explore. We're going to have a look at the chart for Vechain, and we're going to review whether or not we think this has a 100x potential to it in the future. As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, you know, guys, know what to do by now. Smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and of course, why not tap the bell, selecting all the notifications so you do not miss another video update. But above and beyond those two things, guys, if you haven't yet joined us down in a Discord server, why not check it out? Linked in the description below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into this video for Vechain's VET token and review whether or not we think 100x is something that we might see here. So let's break this down. So this is a Vechain paired up with USDT on the weekly time frame. Okay, and so there's a few things here that we need to kind of just pinpoint on to start with. First off, we have our low from March 2020. This happened approximately 1.5 years after Bitcoin had bottomed out. So just bear that in mind, right? Bitcoin will bottom first, and then you'll see altcoins bottoming after. This one was 1.5 years after Bitcoin had bottomed. So just bear in mind that nothing's going to moon straight away. If Bitcoin only, had a bear market low last year, for example, in November, then you'll be talking, probably early 2024 for a Vechain bottom, right? Theoretically, if you're to see history repeating itself. So just bear that in mind. But this was a nice low price. It was 0.00157. I mean, it was stupidly cheap. Now, from that bear market low point up to the all-time high for Vechain, we saw 17,780% in gains. The all-time high coming in at 27.983 cent. So it had a very, very good run. And the pattern with Shin, it fell, or the pattern that in which it kind of pushed to the upside, wasn't actually overly that impressive. It does fall in line more with a 3-wave pattern than it does with a 5-wave pattern. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Now, when we start reviewing where we are in this bear market, we've come down pretty significantly, right? We can acknowledge that our current bear market low that was achieved on week commencing the 5th of June 2023, so only really a few weeks ago, we can see that we're down 95.29%. And this is really where the values come in. And I've been talking about this for months. Basically, if the price action is lower than 90% from its all-time high, I think we're pretty much in dollar cost average territory. 95%, and we are absolutely flying, right? With some fantastic opportunities to see undervalued altcoins. And Vechain's definitely an undervalued altcoin, currently trading at the point of recording this video at 1.962 cent. Now, do bear in mind, I am recording this in advance. I'm away this weekend, so I thought I'd get ahead of myself and I'll record some videos for you guys to enjoy over the weekend whilst I'm not around. Specifically talking about the future price appreciation, not really talking about the now price. So the price action is probably different and probably has changed over the last few days since the point of recording this video, and that's okay. The point of this video is really to look at the future as to whether or not we think there's a 100x potential. So as you can kind of see, we're in a really interesting spot, right? We've come down quite aggressively, and I still think there's potential for a little bit more to the downside. So I don't think the worst is over just yet. Therefore, I think we can see some further reductions in price action. So let's go ahead and find out where we think those might be, because those are going to be key as to whether or not we think 100x is potential, right? So right now, for us to 100x, we have to go to $1.90, right, from the point of recording this video, if we're to take market value. To go from our current bear market low, which is down here at 1.3 cent, we have to go to $1.30. That's actually a lot more realistic, at least in my opinion. We've got a bit of a journey, of course, but something that we can consider. So where else do we think, if we think the bear market low is not in for Vechain, how low do we think this thing could potentially go? And well, there's some interesting areas right down here that have really caught my attention. Let's go ahead and just see if we can just pinpoint a couple of these on here, because I do think, yeah, this one right here is the area of most interest. So if we take a look at this on the historic side of things, let me just see if I can just make that a little bit. Yeah, there we go. You can see that this is an area where price broke down, rallied up, found resistance, pulled back quite aggressively, broke past the resistance and turned the resistance into support, right? So we can see how that kind of played out in the last bullish market. So expectations here are we going to, I need that bit, I don't need the yellow lines, let's get rid of the arrows here. The expectation might be that this is the obvious area for retracement, an area that we might find our actual bear market low point in the previous area of support, as in a double bottom kind of situation. And so that could be really interesting for us, right? So if we were to come down here, we're talking about going between 0.00811 and 0.0105 or 65, right? And I think for the most part, that area would then have the potential for 100x. I think $1.30 is a push, right? We're going to really struggle to get past the $1 level when it comes to Vechain's VET token, right? I think that's going to be a psychological barrier there where so many people are going to try to sell at $1. So I think 80 cent is a more realistic range to be thinking. But we'll have a look at the potential of that in a second. And if we were to think 80 cent, then we can say, okay, well, if we come down here to this low range between 0.008 and 1 cent, then yeah, that's 100x potential right in there. Okay, now obviously we saw 200x's, or almost 200x's from our bear market low point up to our all-time high. Okay, so we know that it has this kind of potential to it. So let's go ahead and measure using the fib tool, the high point to the low point. Okay, we can see that we're just retracing at the moment down towards this low area here would basically be between the 30% and the 38.2% fib levels as well, which would be an interesting retracement point. I'm going to go ahead and put us on the low side of this target range at 0.008 because that gives us a conservative high target. It means that we are undershooting the higher range potential. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller so that we can see everything on the chart. So like most patterns, we need to acknowledge that we haven't yet completed this one. Now, this is a multi-year pattern, okay, and I have no idea how long it's going to take before this plays out, but it's something that we need to consider. The only way that this gets invalidated is if we go down lower than our 2020 low at 0.00157. Okay, so unless price comes all the way down here and breaks that low, then what I'm talking about here in terms of a three-wave pattern, A, B, and C, is likely to play out. Okay, that means that we have our high range typical target up here between $1.43 and $4.87. That's not to say that we're going to hit those numbers, because anywhere realistically between the all-time high and up in this range is a possible C wave ending point. You have to make sure that we have an internal structure, let's say it's three waves, that makes its way up there. Okay, so this gives us an idea as to kind of where the potential for Vechain lies. And $1.43 is very, very interesting. But as I said, that 80 cent range is also very interesting. As you can kind of see here, we have some really interesting points around the 786 and the 882, as well as the 618, right? We have a lot of key areas on this price chart on the way up that will see some pretty significant movements. I think we're going to get rejected from quite a few of these because they are also psychological barriers. For example, the 618 also comes in very close to 20 cents, so you might see a lot of selling pressure there. The 702 is 30 cents, you'll probably see some selling pressure there. And of course, that's just above the previous all-time high. Then of course, you have these 786, which is going to be a real good psychological area as well for people who are trading on the fib levels. That comes in at 47 cents, and of course 77 on the 882. So I do think we have the potential here for 100x, but we really do have to see this pull back down first, so that we can see that growth to the upside. Now, obviously, if we were to just mirror what happened with our A wave into our C wave, then we are talking about the very same gains that we saw from our A wave as well, so 17,000%. And I don't think that's realistically something that we're going to see. Let me just measure that back up again, just make sure. Yeah, 17,780, right? That's kind of what you would see over here as well if we were to do such a thing, right? 17,680%. So I think that for the most part, it's important that we reflect on, yes, this is an undervalued altcoin with a real fantastic use case. It's a layer one. It has DeFi. It has NFTs. It's onboarding enterprises around the world, and it is well known for its supply chain traceability and counterfeiting or anti-counterfeiting properties as well, right? This protocol hasn't just been kind of shouting the things that it can do, it's been demonstrating it with real world use cases. And I think as the future continues to grow with Vechain, I think it's just going to go from strength to strength. So 100x, yeah, I think we could possibly do it, but we do have to move on down a little bit deeper. Either way, though, I think we're going to see exponential growth for Vechain over the coming years. Let me know what your thoughts are on this down in the comments below. Do you agree that Vechain is going to see some very significant gains in the future, or do you disagree? Let me know below. And if you found it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? And guys, don't forget to join us down in Discord, linked in the description below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors, and none of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.